Hey guys, so today I wanted to give some advice from a person who did not finish a trail, who failed to complete the CDT. I threw in the towel, and I wanted to talk about that because there's not a lot of videos that are from that perspective. You know, a lot of the people that you see online, it's about their success, it's about them completing trails, and you know, it's not the case for everybody, and I think that it's kind of misinterpreted, misrepresented, and I want to show the view from somebody who failed that's not upset about it, that didn't quit because they were hurt. And so if you don't know me, my name's Ryan. If by chance you met me on the trail, you know me as Good Fun, and I want to, as I said, just kind of go and give some advice and talk about that from the perspective of somebody who's failed. So the background on this is here in 2021 I attempted the CDT, Nobo, started from Crazy Cook, made my way up through the Gila, up to Grants, Cuba, all that, crossing the Colorado-New Mexico border, and I made it about 100 miles into Colorado before I got to the point where it was too much for me. I felt that I was taking too many risks, and I got to the point where I realized I no longer wanted to do this because I was no longer enjoying it. And that's the reason that I quit. You know, I was taking so many risks. I felt like something was going to happen, something was going to go wrong, I was going to get hurt, and I didn't want to take that chance that something would go wrong. I'd be in the backcountry and I'd have to hit my my SOS button on my Garmin. I was really glad that before going out there I had acquired knowledge, I had acquired experience, and that I didn't just go straight into what I expected to be 6-month hike without any proper exposure to it. So I did what a lot of people are doing to get into backpacking, which was I started reading online different articles and whatnot. I started watching many videos, hours and hours and hours of videos, whether it was Dixie, Darwin, Jupiter, you know, you name it, I probably watched it. So those things were really helpful, and they really introduced me. They got me to have an idea of what I wanted and how I was going to approach this, because before 2021 I'd never done any backpacking, and I actually didn't buy my first piece of gear until September of 2020, and I didn't use it until maybe October. So in doing that, I only had one overnight before I went and did my first backpacking trip, which was a Lone Star Trail, and it was a 100-mile trail. It's not very long, but I did complete the hike. It took me about 6 days. I did it solo. And doing that, I found all these things that I needed to change, you know, things that were unnecessary, things that I could modify. I changed different things on my backpack. I changed out gear. I threw stuff out that I didn't need. And that I found that just wasn't that useful to me. And so I think experiences like that are very important. And it's not mandatory, it's not necessary for you to go and, you know, work your way up. I've met plenty of people that have just gone out and done a 6-month hike that have completed it with no experience. I met plenty of people that went out and did it and failed because they didn't know what they were doing very quickly. And so it's not a guaranteed thing that if you go out with experience you're gonna make it. Obviously I didn't, and that was having the experience of the Lone Star Trail and the Pinhoti Trail. I had maybe 50 nights or so camping before, like prior to doing that. So I wasn't the most experienced backpacker, but I had enough experience to be comfortable and to know, hey, I'm okay. I could camp by myself. It wasn't a big deal. I could get my food. I can get my water. I knew how to plan out how to get water, where to get water, how often I needed to get more water, how much I needed to drink. I understood those things. So get that experience, get that knowledge, read articles, You know, take advice from the people that were successful. But as I've said, I think it's also important that you get advice from people who weren't successful. Because not everybody's a success, and it's unreasonable to think, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do this 100%, because that's not always the case. So the next thing I want to talk about is, so many people online just are so, how do I say it? They're just so adamant that your weight needs to be bottom of the line. Like, it just needs to be incredibly low. And, you know, you see all these ultralight hikers that, I mean, props to them that they can get their pack weight, their base weight underneath 10 pounds. That's not me. I'm not going to do that. I tried and tried and tried, and at the end of the day, I ended up getting my base weight to like 14 pounds, which is very comfortable for me. And it left a lot of room for water. You know, I think the longest or the largest amount of water that I had to carry was about 5 liters at a time on the CDT, and that was very rare. Usually it was closer to 4 or 3 going through the desert portions, and then once getting into Colorado, it was about 1 liter. And then food, and then that also left me room to be able to pick up things I needed, such as micro spikes or an ice axe, warmer clothes that I needed going through Colorado. So I just want to just reiterate that it's not super important to get your weight down to ultralight levels, and unless you're somebody who's had a lot of experience and is very, very comfortable, you know, being out there without comfort items, I would say don't waste your time. You know, just get comfortable with what you have. You know, get used to it. The biggest thing is going to be getting comfortable sleeping outside in a forest, bugs, animals, stuff running around, bumping into your tent, making noise. I mean, even sleeping next to water can get deafening if you're not used to that and you're not used to sleeping in that environment. So don't be such a gram weenie, so to speak, that you're stressing out over getting every last gram or every last quarter of an ounce down. As far as I'm concerned, and I would say, is if you get your base weight down below about 18 pounds or so, you're doing pretty good, and you'll be able to go comfortably. You know, you're not going to be so overburdened that you're going to be dying out there. So don't let that be something that you see online or see in articles that it's mandatory that you need to have your base weight under 11 pounds or under 10 pounds, whatever it is. And don't get discouraged that, you know, you see all these people that have been doing this for years that have thousands of miles under their feet that they have 10, 12 pound base weight. Because starting out, that is more than likely not going to be you. But that will come. You know, you will learn what you don't need with experience. And so after that, the next thing would be, know that bad things are going to happen. Know you're going to make mistakes. Accept that it's going to happen. Accept that there's going to be things that you can't control. You know, you may be walking. There might be a moose. There might be a bear. There might be whatever it is, X, Y, Z. You might be walking on a ridgeline. Lightning starts striking around you. I ended up having to go and lay down on the ground as low as I could. I was still 600-700 feet above tree line, and it was one of the scariest moments of my life, because I just had my tent covering me up, and I was praying that I wouldn't get struck by lightning. So things are going to happen that you cannot control, and they are going to be mentally, emotionally, physically stressful, and you have to be prepared for that. And that's something that, you know, you hear about it, you don't really consider it until it happens. So gear failures are going to happen, especially when you get on a long hike. Anything over, I'd say 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to have gear failures that are going to be somewhat detrimental, you know. And it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to let that get to you. And just be ready for that. You know, prepare for that. Know that if you have an inflatable sleeping pad, it's probably going to pop at some point. If your pack's not some very water resistant material such as Dyneema. It's probably going to get soaked through. Your bag, your sleeping bag or quilt is probably going to get wet at some point in time, as well as your puffy, things like that. It's going to happen. So be mentally prepared for that, and you know, have contingencies, have things that you can do in case that happen. You know, be prepared for those things as much as you can without giving too much weight in to where it's gonna be cumbersome. You know, I don't expect somebody to carry 2 or 3 jackets, because what if my puffy gets wet, so I need a synthetic jacket as well, and you know, so on and so forth. It's not necessary to do that, but just think about these things as you're planning your trip, as you're planning your day, as you're going throughout your hike, and know that bad stuff will happen to you. And from that, you have to pick up the pieces and just, you know, make the best of your day. And I found it so funny that the lows are, you know, way down here. You know, your lows are low. As I said, you know, I was worried about my life walking on ridge lines, worried I was going to get struck by lightning. Mind you, I was by myself the whole time when I was doing this. As far as the ridge walking goes, I was separated from the group I'd been hiking with, so I was dealing with this emotionally, mentally alone, as well as physically, and that was just extremely stressful for me. So your lows are, I mean, down here. Your highs are about right here. You know, that's getting a soda, that's getting trail magic, that's getting not a lot out of it. But that's what you have to make your day out of. You know, enjoy your time with the people that you're with. And that leads into my 4th point, which is don't pass up opportunities. You're going to be given opportunities pretty often. Another example of this is when we were hiking, Just Jam and Foxy and I, out of the blue, we were walking, we were having a rough day, you know, we were just tired. Everybody was exhausted, and we got to a road, and we jokingly kind of said, you know, if we went and got a soda. So somebody pulls out their phone, starts looking on the map. We're 20 miles from a town in either direction. We stuck out our thumbs. We made a sign, and we ended up going to what was initially a trip to get a soda. We ended up getting a whole meal, and everybody got hamburgers and fries and whatnot, and we shared a 2-liter bottle of soda, and it was just incredible, you know. And then another thing was, we had snow that was melting in Colorado. That it was passable, but it was, you know, rough. There's still people posting that they were post-holing, and we figured it would be better to take our time and rest, relax, you know, not push ourselves to the point where we were exhausted, and then to get there and there'd still be so much snow that it would make it miserable. Which, going through the South San Juans, was still miserable. But we decided that Just Jim, Butters, Pockets, Grizz, and myself, that we would all go and take a trip to Zion. So we hitchhiked about 100 miles, maybe 80 miles or so south to Santa Fe from Ghost Ranch. We rented a car. The 5 of us piled in a little bitty Ford Fusion, headed out to Utah, and we spent the next 4 or 5 days going there, coming back, and spent a day in Zion National Park, going through the Narrows. So those are things that I would have never done with those people had I not taken that opportunity to enjoy myself and, you know, enjoy the trail, enjoy who I was around, and really cherish those moments. You know, you really have to decide why you're doing it. And that brings it into my 5th point, which is know why you're hiking. I highly recommend that you go out, get a piece of paper, get a pen, sit down, write why you're going to be hiking. Write why you're there, why you want to go out, what your reasoning is, because everybody has a reason that they're hiking. You know, a lot of people do it as a former military, do it as a transition back into the world. People do it as therapy. People do it as a way to get over relationships, you know, to deal with their emotions, things like that. And I think you really need to be honest with yourself and write that stuff down. And for me, mine, at least You know, a few of my big points were I wanted to inspire people. You know, this is something I had never done. I had no experience in. My friends knew I didn't have experience in. My family knew I didn't have experience in. This is something that I just decided after going online, seeing that people were doing these trips, I decided I wanted to do that, and I wanted to be that person. And so I did that, and I did it with the intention of, I want people to see, hey, they're not so trapped in their life and what they're doing, that they can go out and do these trips, they can go out hiking, they can go enjoy themselves, they can do whatever they want to do, because really and truthfully, you only get one life. And if you work all your life up to the point that you're 65, I believe it's 25% of people die after those first 5 years of retirement. And I didn't want that to be me, and I don't want other people to think that, and I don't want other people to be in that position to where they've worked their lives away to the point of retirement, and then they're done, and that's it, and you die, and you have nothing left. So that was number one. Numerically speaking, I'm not putting these in order of importance to me. Another thing, I wanted my family to be proud of me. You know, and I don't ever think that my family wasn't proud of me, but I never personally felt that connection. I never personally felt that I had a reason for them to be proud of me, that I'd done anything with my life that was of utter importance or anything astounding, anything amazing, anything like that. And so it also goes into the third point, which is I wanted to be proud of myself, because I had never felt that way. I'd never felt that there was anything for me to be proud of. So whenever I crossed that New Mexico border into Colorado, I was astonished that I had completed 700 miles walking across the entire state of New Mexico. And you know, while I didn't finish the CDT, I did finish New Mexico. I did do another 100 miles. I did 1,000 miles for the year doing the Lone Star Trail, the Pinhoti Trail, and the portion of the CDT that I did over 1,000 miles. And so that's something to be proud of, and that's something that I held on to, and that's something I cherish, and that's a reason that I'm not disappointed in myself for not finishing. A fifth reason was I wanted my kids to be proud of me. I wanted to show my kids one day when I have children that I did something with my life, that I did something with my youth, and that I didn't waste it working away, you know, grinding all the time. Of course, I've worked my ass off to get to the point that I'm at. You know, as anybody that's done this, that knows this, that's been in this lifestyle, you have to work your ass off to get to the point where you can take off what you expect to be 6 months. Which I actually did. So currently I'm still looking for work, but I have been off of work since January, and financially I'm still supporting myself with no other type of assistance. So I want to show my kids that, you know, do something with your life. My potential children, of course. Do something with your life. Don't work it away. Don't get caught in the grind of you have to work a 9 to 5 every day for the rest of your life until you're 65, 64, whatever it is, and then you die. You know, I want people to value their lives. I want people to take that into consideration and say, hey, I can do more with my life than what I'm doing now, rather than work. So those were my main reasons. And at the end of the day, whenever I came down that mountain, I had to go down a very, very sketchy mountain to get down to the point where I was at, because I'd heard that there was a very sketchy part coming up. And I was told by a friend to take the valley down and then come up on the other side of this pass, and it would be a lot safer than taking the knife's edge that was there. I did that. I didn't take a trail. I just kind of bushwhacked my way down a mountain to this valley. Extremely sketchy. And I got to the bottom, and I thought to myself, and I sat down and I looked at my list, and I just went through the points, and I was just like, there's no reason why I'm continuing. You know, I did what I felt made myself proud. I did what I felt made my family proud. I had inspired people. I'd gotten calls. I'd gotten texts from friends, family friends, you know, people that I didn't even know, that were saying, wow, this is incredible. I'm so happy you're doing this. I'm going to go hiking. They're not going to go backpacking. They're not planning to go and doing 6-month hiking trips or even multi-week hiking trips. But I initiated that thought that, hey, you know, this is somebody that I know, from their perspective, this is somebody I know that's doing this, that has no experience, that had never done this before, that I'd never seen do anything like this. And they're out there walking around self-arresting with an ice axe, you know, which, by the way, I recommend practicing before you ever have to self-arrest. But people get to see that, and you'd be amazed by the amount of people that are inspired by those things. So take those chances, take those opportunities to do those things. And I felt that I'd gotten to the point where I had something to look back and show to my children one day, my future children. This is what your father did. This is what's possible. You don't have to work your life away. I never had on my list, I needed to finish the state of Colorado. I never had on my list, I needed to finish the CDT. That was never a official goal of mine. Of course I wanted to. I went in with the intent to. But that was not something that I wrote down and said, this is why I want to hike. So I recommend, if you want to get to Colorado, if you want to get to Canada from Mexico, or Mexico to Canada, write it down, make that your goal. There's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not one of your goals, if you want to enjoy the journey and that's all you want to do is go out there, live that life, enjoy that journey, you're not worried about finishing, you're worried about the people you're meeting, you're worried about taking care of yourself, you're worried about becoming a better you because that's what you want to do, and you could care less about finishing, then don't write that down as a reason why you want to go, because it's not going to be the reason you're out there. As I said, I have no shame in what I did. I'm proud of myself. My family's proud of me. My girlfriend's proud of me. My friends, everybody that knows me has told me how proud they are. And that makes me feel great because I know, like I said, I've inspired people and I didn't even finish. And so, this is not to boast. This is not to say, you know, I'm better than so-and-so because I went X miles. This is just me giving the perspective of somebody who failed, that it's not just because you didn't finish the trail, it doesn't mean you're a failure, you know. It means you didn't finish the trail. And I think at some point in time you have to make peace with, it's okay not to finish if that's not your goal to do. So, as I said, I really recommend acquiring knowledge. Dial down your weight, but don't stress out about it. Don't pass up opportunities. Know that bad things are going to happen. Know why you're hiking. Again, my name's Ryan. If you met me on the trail, my name's Good Fun. Y'all have a great day. Thank you for watching. And if by some means you want to hear me ramble on for another 25 minutes, let me know in the comments. Have a great day.